Welcome to Dynamics Corner. This is Chris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on January 19th, 2023. Chris. We've had a nice run of In the Dynamics Corner Chair podcasts with a number of amazing guests with amazing conversation. But in today's episode, we're going to jump back to quick tips. And for the quick tips today, we'll talk about sales item prices, sales line discounts, and sales invoice discounts.
Everyone gets a discount.
Yes. I had to laugh, Chris, because you were sitting there, standing there, and I didn't know if you were frozen, a statue, or what. But let's get into the quick tips. You are focused. Let's get into the quick tips.
All right, sounds good. Let's get to it.
Get it. Hey, Chris. In today's price-sensitive market, a business needs flexibility when setting selling prices for products. A flexible sales price model is important for businesses because it allows them to tailor their pricing strategy to meet the needs of their customers in the market. A flexible sales price model can also help businesses be more competitive in the market. For example, if a business can offer lower prices for a larger quantity of an item, it may attract more customers and increase sales. Similarly, if a business can offer customized pricing for different customer groups, it can retain customers and build loyalty. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central provides several pricing strategies allowing businesses to offer flexible and competitive pricing strategies for their customers. Sales prices can be for all customers, specific customers, customer price groups, or sales campaigns. These sales prices may include conditions such as order date, unit of measure, or minimum quantity purchased. Within Business Central, we can set the sales price from the item, as you can see on the screen. We'll open up a specific item. By default, you can see on the Price and Sales Fast tab, the unit price that's on the item card is the price that would be used to sell this item to a customer. The unit price can be calculated if you choose a separate price profit calculation. If you would like the price to be set based on the cost plus profit, if you modify the profit, it would calculate the price based upon what the cost is. And if you want to be able to enter the price based upon the cost, it will calculate the profit for you. If you have special prices that you would like to set for a customer, you can go up into the prices and discounts menu and go over to the sales price action, and it will open up the sales prices page for this particular item. On this page, you could have multiple options for setting up prices for this particular item. You can specify the sales type. You have multiple sales types. You have customer, if this sales price was for a specific customer. A customer price group allows you to set this price for a specific group of customers without having to set each of them up individually. All customers would indicate that this sales price would be for all of the customers within your Business Central system. And campaign would be if you were running a special campaign price for this particular item. So in this case, I'll choose customer. Now, for a price to be used and calculated, all of the conditions must be met, although all of these conditions are not mandatory on a particular sales price. If we have a sales type code of customer, we can pick the customer that we want this sales price to apply to. This is the item number that we're working with. The unit of measure of the item sold. For example, if you had multiple units of measure, you could have a separate price based upon the unit of measure of the item. If this price was applicable because maybe there's a price break for a minimum quantity ordered, you can enter the minimum quantity ordered. And then in this case, we would enter the unit price that we're going to sell this for this customer. If this price is valid for a specific date range, you can enter the starting date and the ending date for the price. So that allows you to set some pre-pricing up if you have promos or campaigns, as I had mentioned, or for particular customer price groups, for you to be able to set up a specific date range for that. So you have some flexible options there. One thing to note is that Business Central has a best price principle. So if you have multiple options set up for the sales price, it will give the customer the best price available from all of the pricing options. So we talked about on the sales type code that if there was a particular customer price group, you can assign a price group to a customer by going back to the customer card and also going to the prices and discounts menu and selecting prices. Here you can see the price that we set up. So if you have a few options, you can enter the price for an item for several sales types, customers, all the customers, a campaign, or a customer price group, or you can go to the customer card and enter all of the special prices for a specific customer.
This is helpful. I'm sorry, I had to stop you, but this is helpful if you have a customer that you have a contract pricing with, right? This is perfect setup for it. Yeah.
Correct. If you have contract pricing for a specific date range, you could enter the date range for that price. In this case, I have the price date range open, which means this customer would get this. But if there was a specific date range, then the price would only be applicable within that date range. If you're using price groups, as I had mentioned, prices can be applied to multiple customers. If you go down to the invoicing tab, you can see that there's a customer price group. Here, if you had any set up in your system, you can choose the price group. So we'll just say that these may be retail customers. And you can actually also specify this price group on that customer. And then if we go to assign a sales price for that price group, any customer with this customer price group would get that price.
Well, now, Brad, that you've set up prices for the items and also associated to the customer, how do you handle discounts?
Well, in those situations where customers may receive a discount, Business Central offers two types of discounts. They offer a sales line discount, which you can have a discount for a particular item based upon specific criteria, or you can have an invoice discount, which would give you a discount off the total invoice for a specific value or total amount for the invoice. If you want to work with sales line discounts within Business Central, you can assign them to a customer. If we go over into here, you can see that on the prices and discounts menu, there's line discounts, and it opens up the information for that particular customer. If you do this also from the item, you can change specific discount information for a particular item, just similar to what we had done with the sales prices a few moments ago. This sales line discount can similar setup. It can be applied to a specific customer, a customer price group, all customers, or a particular campaign. When using campaigns, the campaign is entered on the sales document. That way, if you have a mailing promo or some other type of promo that you're running, you can enter the campaign on the sales document, and the sales price and or sales line discounts will apply to that. So in this case, we have this customer that we're working with. We can specify the item similar to the sales price as the unit of measure. If they have a minimum quantity ordered before this line discount percent is applicable, or they may just get it straight off the top regardless of what they order, you can put in 5. If they get 5, we're going to give them a 10% discount. Similar to sales prices, you can specify the date range for this particular sales line discount. In addition to the sales line discounts, you have a sales invoice discount that you can set up for a particular customer or set of customers.
That's actually good that you're covering this, Brad, because that's something that a misunderstanding too. Where do you apply the discounts per item, and then also discounts with an entire from customer's perspective of all their invoice discounts, or every invoice has a discount. So you're doing invoice discount that applies for everything that's in the invoice, right? Or everything in the order.
A sales invoice discount is applied to the order total based upon the lines that have the allow invoice discount flag or field or value. I call them flag. Many people call it flag, but it's a checkbox if that checkbox is enabled. And by default, that is enabled. Item charge lines are not applied to invoice discounts.
Good pointing that out.
So when you're looking, I mean, I have to learn how to type some days, So on the sales and receivables setup, there's a value that's calculate invoice discount. Within invoice discounts within Business Central, you can have invoice discounts calculated automatically or manually. You determine that based on the value on the sales and receivables setup, that's calc invoice discount. With this turned on, sales invoice discounts are going to be calculated automatically. With this value off, as it is now, I would have to manually calculate it on each document for that invoice to be calculated. So to set up discounts for an invoice discount, you go over to a customer card, and you can go to the customer and you can prices and discounts in the related menu item, invoice discounts. There aren't as many options there are for sales prices or sales line discounts, but now you can specify the currency code if there's a currency code, the minimum amount for the order total for that discount, and then the percentage that they receive off of the discount for that item. And then if there's any service charge information, you enter that as well. So now for this customer, 10,000, they now have an invoice discount specified based upon the value that they had entered. Now that we've entered the invoice discount for this specific customer, one thing I want to point out on the invoicing fast tab of the customer, I just hit the show more to see more, there's an invoice discount code. That invoice discount code specifies the customer whose invoice discount you want to have applied to this customer. I have just set up a sales invoice discount for customer 10,000. If I had a group of customers that I wanted to have the same discount as 10,000, I can set the invoice discount code on that customer to be the customer that I copy. This is one thing. You have a question?
A comment. This is actually very helpful in the past where if a customer has a single location, right, like a headquarters, and they have multiple companies, right, they may be different customer card, you may want to apply that discount for all the companies they own, so you can actually just apply the invoice discount code to all the other customers. So that
is correct. If these two were related and we had the invoice discount here for customer 20,000, I wanted to use the 10,000, any sales invoice discounts that were set up for this customer will be applied to here. Now I'll go off on a tangent a little bit. I never really understood why this invoice discount code was related to a customer. I understand your point that if it was related to parent customers, where if you have like sell to, bill to relationships, but we have a customer discount group code if you want to have sales line discounts. But for the invoice discount code, we reference another customer where it may be easier to just have like an invoice discount code. You could say 10% or whatever you want, but that's just something I'm going off on a tangent on. A couple things to point out that I had mentioned that the invoice discount applies to the lines where the allow invoice discount flag is true. You can see on an item in the pricing and sales fast tab, you can set the default for a particular item by setting the allow invoice discount field value in the prices and sales fast tab. If this is on, then this item will receive or is part of the total that's calculated for the invoice discount. If it's not, then this will be, excluded. That is a value you can also set manually on each invoice if you wanted to change it. That value may not be displayed on your sales order or sales invoice by default, but you can make it visible with personalization. Now, I had mentioned that you had the option of setting up your sales invoice discount to be calculated manually or automatically. If you would like to calculate the invoice discount for the sales order, you go to Actions, Functions, Other, Calculate Invoice Discount. And that's how you would manually calculate the invoice discount for this particular order. Well, Chris, we went through it quickly. As the name of this podcast is, The Quick Tips, we talked about how you can set up sales prices, sales list line discounts, and sales invoice discounts for a particular customer, range of customers, or group of customers, I should say, or for a particular campaign. There are a couple other options that you have for setting up and putting these together, but this is a quick tip to get you familiarized with sales prices, sales line discounts, and sales invoice discounts.
This is amazing. So I appreciate the quick tips, Brad. It's Business Central is such a powerful tool. You really did showcase from the item level, from the customer's view, line discounts, and as well as invoice discounts. So there's a lot of options for customers that are using Business Central, and you can utilize this all out of the box within Business Central.
Thank you, Chris, for taking the time to speak with me on this today. And thank you for starting something new, because when you have a question, you now raise your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
We have to get that in our day-to-day life.
Yep, back to elementary.
All right, thank you. Until the next quick tip, Chris.
Take care, everybody.